Howdy folks, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So for today's video, we are going to be tackling the question of who actually tossed the Marine down the hallway on the mission Long Night of Solace in Halo Reach. Now, just as a refresher, mission Long Night of Solace is actually a pretty long mission, but at the very beginning, you're supposed to get into the launch facility here after clearing some Covenant at the beginning. But when you enter this part of the facility, you see a Marine toss across the hallway, and then an elite running right out. And you know, you would probably just assume that it was the elite that killed the Marine and tossed the Marine. Well, that's actually not the case at all. So let's take a look in theater mode and from a different perspective and see what happens. So right there, it happens really quickly, and we couldn't quite see what happened there unless we were playing in slow motion. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Let's see what happens in slow motion again and see who actually tossed the Marine. Because like I said, you would think it's the elite, but it's actually not. So here, this is when the Marine first spawns in almost in midair. Actually, he spawns on the ground, but he's flying so quickly actually at this point. But yeah, see, no elite. The Marine just spawns and then just gets flung by himself into the ceiling and then down onto the ground, and then the elite spawns shortly after, like a split second later. So, just to answer the question, is the Marine just spawns flying, right? No, that is actually not the case. In theater mode, it may actually look like that's the case, and you know, you may not see or think otherwise. But we actually came across the real reason, or the real cause of Marine flying. So we managed to get into this room in the hallway before the elite actually, the Marine and the elite spawns in. We had to skip the loading point, which is actually kind of tricky. But we're not going to cover that method in this video, because this is actually a two-part video. We will, of course, answer the question in the title in this video, but we only came across this interesting fact while doing something else, which will be tomorrow's video. So definitely do stick around for that one. But you can probably figure out what we were trying to do if you know a lot of the videos that we do on this channel. But anyways, we were standing here waiting for the elite and the Marine to spawn, hoping to catch them in the process. When all of a sudden, when the Marine and the elite finally did spawn, something very interesting happened. There, that is what happened. So let's take a look at that from another perspective, because we were actually pretty confused what happened at first. Both of us, we were both standing at the door while the third player was running from the outside of the map back in to spawn the elite for us, because it doesn't spawn unless someone hits the loading point a little bit further back. But as you can see there, when the elite and the Marine spawned in, we both instantly just died. So we were confused what happened. At first we thought it was because the elite or the Marine spawned on top of us, which crushed us. But that didn't seem like the case. It didn't seem likely, because the elite doesn't take up the entire hallway. It's not that big. And plus, we died before the elite even spawned here. We died when the Marine spawned, actually. The elite only spawned in like a split second after. So, what is actually going on here? Why did we die? Was it like a death barrier that spawned? Or something like that? Well, that is actually the fascinating answer. So we actually tried it again later. It took a while to get back, almost half an hour to get back. But this time, I stood a little bit further back while the other person stood closer. And let's see what happened this time. So once the elite spawned in, I'm going to play this in slow motion too, so you can see clearly what happens. Once the elite spawned in, the other player still died as normal when the Marine spawned in. But I was okay. But as you can see, I took damage from my shields. So what actually happened is when the Marine spawns in alive actually, but he spawns in with an invisible explosion. It's a very powerful invisible explosion, but there's no sound effects, there's no explosion effects, no particles, nothing. It's an invisible explosion that you can't even see or perceive in theater mode. But if you're actually standing there in person, you can feel it. If you're too close, you die instantly. But if you're just far back enough, you will actually feel it, and you'll even hear the muffle sound effect when you're in an explosion. I'll let you listen here. Okay, so hopefully as you've heard there, when the Marine spawned, I was indeed in an explosion. The explosion sound effect was there, I took damage, and my sound effect became muffled, which only happens when you get caught in an explosion. So that basically confirms it. The Marine is not thrown by the elite, nor does the Marine spawn flying in midair. The Marine is actually flung by an invisible, intangible explosion. It's one of those little trickery things that Bungie does behind the scenes to essentially fake a scene. But it's one of those things that you'd never notice, even with theater mode, changing your perspective. So this is probably one of those like today I learned kind of things, or TIL things, that the Marine is flung by some invisible force, literally. But yeah, so hopefully you guys found this to be interesting. And like I said, what you saw here is just part of a bigger thing that we were trying. And tomorrow I'll upload the video of the full thing that we did, including the tutorial of how we got into that hallway early, without loading the elite and the Marine in. So do stay tuned for that. But other than that, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments. If you want to check anything else out or want me to look into anything else, just let me know. And I'll do my best to get around to it. But other than that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.